Okay, you're gonna have to excuse the crappy audio. I'm out here in my garden, for the sake of argument, also known as my pool area. The birds will be chirping away all day. So, what am I doing? Well, I bought all these metal screens here to replace. I had old. They were old pressure treated lattice privacy screens that somebody had built. Ooh, butterfly. Had built decades ago, literally probably back in the 1970s. And they were falling down. They looked like crap. And I had no interest in rebuilding them because the amount of effort that went into building those was just absurd. We do have some mature plantings here. This is one of the mature bushes, which does need to be trimmed, and then I've got another one over in the other end. And we have some hydrangeas that pop up in the spring. So, what am I going to do? Well, we have a couple things. One is this was the test piece. This one here was the test that I bought. These were like $300, I think, or no, maybe $250. I don't know. They weren't cheap, but they weren't expensive either. They weren't like $1,000 a piece. Trust me, I'm cheap. So I ordered 6 more of them, and today we're gonna put them all together, and we're gonna mount them. I'm gonna do something a little sketchy to mount these things, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach them to this fence. This wall is all Pennsylvania fieldstone, and they had originally mounted the wall, or this fence is mounted to the fieldstone. I can, at a later date, if I decide to do it. They did come with. I'm gonna go through what they came with. They did come with anchors, believe it or not, but they're steel expansion anchors. My preference would be to use lead heads in the fieldstone. Tapcons are out of the question for this project. So it would have to be lead heads that get put in, and I don't have any lead heads, and I don't feel like going and sourcing them because finding actual lead heads nowadays is even in Pennsylvania is a bit of a pain in the ass. I'd have to go over to Fazio's to get them. So let's do an unboxing of all the stuff that came with them, or what they come like. So here they are, all 7 of them, or 6 of them. There's 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's 6 more of these, and I have to assemble them all together. I have to assemble them all. So let's get one of these up on the bench and do some unboxing. I was gonna set this up as a time lapse, and then I thought, you know what? I can always just fast forward it in Final Cut, right? So I laid all the pieces out. If I moved the table so I could work around the table. I actually just built this table a week or 2 ago. The base was in my shop, and I took it out, and I put the vise from my old toolbox on here, now I have a table outside here that's decent to work off of. So I laid everything out on the table. Now, you got to give the Chinese a little bit of credit in that they did include assembly tools. You know, taken after IKEA. The Allen wrench, the obligatory soft steel Allen wrench, I should add. It's not hardened, so it literally won't last the entire job. So, me being a tool junkie, I whipped out my cordless impact gun, which has got too much impact for this cheap Chinese hardware. And I actually, again, because I'm a tool junkie, I have this articulating 10mm impact socket here. And my little, sadly, I can't get a battery for this Matco 1/4-inch driver. So we'll see how long this thing lasts. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble these, and then I'm going to put the sides on. I already separated my nuts from my bolts, because you got to keep the nuts separated from everything else. And I'm just going to go ahead and just start zipping this thing together. I should probably get a pair of gloves too. These things are notoriously Chinese sharp. They're not bad, they're not terrible, they're not like old LK or Keystone or Sort of Fit parts, but they're definitely sharp. And the bolts are just small enough to be fiddly to assemble. Yeah, I think I might go get a pair of gloves. Chances of me getting cut here are about 100%. The other thing is you don't want to do it too tight right away, because if you zip them down hard, they don't want to line up. There's a reason that every single one of these holes is actually slotted. Yeah, this is going to take forever. I may end up having to come up with a better way. I mean, I've got 100 of these screws to put together. There's probably every bit of 100 screws here. It doesn't help that it's cold out today, and my old fingers just are not cooperating. Grenades are a real thing, kids. So my game plan here is to loosely put all these bolts in, and then I'll go back around when I'm done and zip them all down. The nice thing about using this high-speed impact gun is if you get it spinning fast enough, the bolt head catches and you don't have to put a wrench on the back side, which is a good thing, because as I had mentioned, this thing's not hardened, so when you go to use it, it immediately strips out. All right, so that's that. I've already assembled a ton of these, and it doesn't get easier. It just gets more routine. This is the kind of stuff that makes this job go. I got the nut jammed in the fucking. I may put a little bit of dum-dum on the inside of this, or butyl on the inside of this socket to hold these. So if these things last 10 years, I'll be happy. I'll be dead. If they last 5 years, I expect them to last about 3 to 5 years before they become kind of skanky. And that'll be fine. I expect skank. I'm gonna shut the camera off. I gotta fix this. So what's happening here is the nut is flopping sideways into my wore out old socket. Okay, so we're back. I couldn't find my preferred goo for this type of project. But what I did have was which I could easily find, was an old tire plug. Actually, it was a new tire plug. So I cut a little hunk of tire plug off, wrapped it around the inside, and stuffed it in the socket. Well, what does that do? Well, it keeps the bolt from going too deep into the socket, and it kind of keeps it from falling out, which is essential for this type of shit where you've got a whole ton of little 10mm head sockets or bolts. I think I'm missing a piece here. I get the Dimwit of the Day award because I did not assemble this correctly. Yep. I screwed up and I mounted this too low. So I got to take all these back out again. This is why I didn't do them too tight. And now I can't get the nut out of the socket. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I screwed up. Now the downside of putting that little piece of goo in the end of the socket is now I can't now I can't get it on the socket. That's why I didn't want to use a tire plug. If you use a little piece of butyl, it's a little bit gooier. Wonder why it didn't fit right. Why do it once when you can do it 3 fucking times, right? The other downside of using this tool is you scratch the crap out of them. But I wish I could say I cared. These are going to have to be painted again eventually anyway. If you don't own a set of these articulating impact sockets, I highly suggest it. Get the impact ones, don't get the universal joint ones. The universal joint ones, they go at a 90-degree angle and they just make your life miserable. And break. Never broken one of these. I use this particular 10mm has been used a million. It's made a million rotations. Now it is a Matco, but you could buy whatever brand you want. Fix that stupidity. So the other thing you can ask is why am I not going from the outside? Because the bolt heads, these aren't hardened bolts, so the impact driver strips the Allen head out of these instantly. And then actually it's a pain in the butt to get the Allen head out, or to get the tool out. Like I said, I've already assembled 6 others of these. The project I should have videoed, which I did not, was the other screen job. This gets man, I did it again. This gets a reinforcement in the middle here. You have to put this reinforcement in or else it'll bend in half. I'm glad I'm doing this on video because this is a fantastic way to show the frustration if that's not paying attention to what you're doing. And it's also, I was wondering why this one was going so smoothly. This socket does not fit in here, so now I have to use the other tool. So you get to see that screw up happen. This socket won't fit in here. The socket's too large. The socket here is too large to fit in this channel by just a wee bit, a hair. Red, come here. Okay, so this side's assembled. I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll zip them all together. Go from there. Gosh, that's... There we go. This joint wants to be tight. My joints are waist tight. My rhymes will floor you. If you want a long one, baby, I got one for you. I would love to wax philosophical while I'm doing this, but I've been told my videos are too long. If you put that in ahead of time, you don't forget to put it in later. One of the nice things is they actually give you a shit ton extra hardware, which is nice because inevitably you lose some, break some. Yeah, goo in the socket was the way to go. Now what I have to do is find a better way to hold the nut in when I'm doing these. I mean, remember, I'm only going to show one, but I've got 7 of these things to assemble. All right, so that's it's all assembled for the most part. I'm going to go back around and zip all these tight. Yeah, and then we'll show the next step, which is going to be trimming all of these. I was originally going to unpack everything and then assemble them that way. I think what I'm going to do is unpack and assemble them one at a time, which is going to take longer to do it that way, I think. But it's really at 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. All right. So like I said, I'm going to go around, zip all these closed, and then we'll show the next part of the project. Well, I forgot to set the camera up and show me cutting the bottoms, but I cut the bottoms here, right? So they're all kind of flush with the wall. And there's the screens. It is what it is.